What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut, and today we're going to have my official 2021 MLB playoff predictions. So, like the last video, we're going to have the AL on the left side and the NL on the right side. So we'll start by looking at the AL, and Tampa Bay is the 1 seed in the AL. They're the only team in the AL to win 100 or more games. The 2 seed will be the Houston Astros. They will be playing the 3 seed Chicago White Sox. And then we have the 4 seed Boston Red Sox hosting the 5 seed New York Yankees in the wildcard game. So we'll start with the wildcard game, of course. This is probably the absolute best matchup MLB could have hoped for. You get the New York Yankees going to the Boston Red Sox. You can't get much better than that. These two teams obviously are the biggest rivals in baseball. When you think of sports rivalries in general, you're probably going to have Yankees and Red Sox at number 1, if not the best in all sports. They're going to be top 3. Most people will say number 1. Of course, I live in the Northeast, so I'm biased, but this is the best rivalry in sports. Hold maybe Army-Navy. That's just a great football game. Anyway, New York, Boston. Now, assuming that Garrett Cole is going to be pitching for New York and Nathan Eovaldi is going to be pitching for Boston, we're going to have a very good one-game playoff. Now, looking at the lineups and looking at the pitchers, these two teams, they played 19 games this year, of course, and the Yankees did not win that series. Boston won it 10 games to 9. So it was a close series. Boston was dominating the start of the season. New York has come on strong since. So momentum does favor New York. But now you got to look, like I said, at the pitchers. Eovaldi has done better this year against the Yankees than Cole has done against the Red Sox. So that's crucial. It does come down to the pitcher. It also comes down to the lineups. The Red Sox have a balanced lineup. They're gonna be capable of putting up 5 runs against you every game, no matter who you have pitching. The Yankees are a team that is capable of putting up 15 runs on you, but then the very next day you can hold them to a single run. They have a lot of home run hitters. Boston has good home run hitters too. Don't get me wrong; they have Devers, but New York has the home run hitters, the 3 true outcome guys: Gallo, Rizzo, Judge, Stanton. So I can't even forget Gary Sanchez. So you got 5 guys that are 3 true outcomes. So it comes down to a few different things. And this is just a really tough series, a really tough game, I should say, to decide. But I have to go with the team that I probably wasn't expecting to choose. But I got to go with the Boston Red Sox. So Boston, these two teams did end up with the same record. But Boston I don't know, they seem to be more in control. They seem to be more ready to go. The Yankees probably do have more to prove than the Red Sox this year right now. But you got to remember, Boston, they want to beat the Yankees. They want to show, hey, look, we missed the playoffs in 2020, but we're back. We want to do this. This is our time to shine. Yeah, we don't have Mookie Betts anymore, but this is our time to shine. This is the new Boston Red Sox. So that would put up another AL East matchup between the Boston Red Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays. So how do I have this ALDS showdown going? So we already discussed Boston. Now you're going to have more pitchers going in. Of course, you're going to have Eduardo Rodriguez. You're probably going to have Chris Sale pitch a game if Sale doesn't come out of the bullpen. So, yeah, I already discussed their lineup to an extent. Xander Bogaerts is still pretty good, obviously. Alex Verdugo has been kind of falling out of favor for the team. But they still do have strong players. It's not like they have nobody. They have Kike Hernandez. So this team is ready to go. Tampa Bay is a team that I have grossly underestimated. Last year they were right in the bat of Randy Arozarena into the playoffs. This year they have more offensive help. Of course, you have Nelson Cruz coming in now. You have Wander Franco coming in to help. So your offense is better than it was last year. Joey Wendell's showing up a bit this year too. You still have the platoon at first base. So they are ready to go. This team is definitely ready to go. Austin Meadows, though, is on the downside. And unfortunately for Tampa, the pitching staff is also on the downwards movement, I guess you could say. So, they don't have Tyler Glass now. But fact of the matter is, Shane Baz, who I did not mention in my last playoff prediction, he's looked pretty good so far in his, 3 starts. Now, he didn't do the best against the Yankees, but they didn't need him to. They didn't leave him out for too long. So, of course, you still have Shane McClanahan. Same thing. He didn't do that great in his last start, but they didn't want to risk him getting hurt. So this will be a great series between two AL East rivals. These are two teams that they played each other a lot in the playoffs. I believe Tampa knocked out Boston in the 2008 run when Tampa made a run to the World Series. So, these two teams, they know each other in the playoffs. But really, sorry, Boston, your run's over. Tampa Bay is too good of a team for you to knock off. I see this going to 4 games. So, yeah. Then we have the Chicago White Sox taking on the Houston Astros. Chicago is a team that I've been high on. You all know I like the White Sox. I loved them last year. I still like them now. Now, this year, they're a little different, though. They don't have Nick Madrigal anymore, obviously. But their bullpen is improved. Obviously, you got Craig Kimbrell. So, Liam Hendricks is doing great. So, you have a very strong 8th, 9th inning punch. The real concern is your starting pitching. You still have some strong players like Carlos Rodon, of course. You have Lance Lynn, of course. But how are these guys going to be doing? We do know that Rodon's been dealing with some shoulder injuries, but maybe it's nothing serious. So we'll have to see. Offensively, Chicago has some superstars. Of course, you have Jose Abreu. So Jose Abreu is basically the best player on that offense. Yohan Moncada, Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, these guys are strong players as well. But this is Jose Abreu's team. Of course, he is the 2020 AL MVP, so you got to give him that. They're going to be playing, of course, for La Russa too. So then we got the Houston Astros, who are the higher seed. Houston is another team that it's tough to look at. This is a team that's without their best pitcher in Justin Verlander. He will not be playing this year, obviously. He won't be back for the playoffs, doesn't matter. But they do have Zach Greinke, but Greinke hasn't been that great. But they do have one of the rest of their pitching staff, I should say, hasn't been doing that great. Framber Valdez did have a very good couple starts before the playoffs, so this is the good time for him to heat up. But other than that, Luis Garcia has cooled off considerably. So you're probably gonna have to use McCullers out there, and Lance McCullers, he's good, but I don't know if he's been there. I don't know if I trust him in a marquee, pivotal game, but you're gonna have to. Probably will be a bullpen game. Houston's offense does have one of the hottest hitters, I should say, in baseball, with Kyle Tucker, who was recently named the AL Player of the Month for the month of September. So this is good. This is a good time for him to be heating up. Carlos Correa has a lot to prove right now. He is a free agent after the year. Alex Bregman wants to prove that this isn't a bad year for him. Obviously, he missed most of the year with an injury. So this offense is ready to go. Yuli Gurriel is going to be revving to get ready to compete. So this is going to be a high-scoring series. And this is just a tough series for me to call. Now, this is the second toughest series for me to choose out of all the series. But I'm going to go once more, just like I did last time, with Houston. I would love to see Chicago get the victory in this series. Don't get me wrong. But I just think Houston's offense is a bit hotter and a bit more capable to knock out the White Sox. I think that if they can limit the long ball, they're going to be able to win. If they can handle Jose Abreu and Eloy Jimenez, they'll be able to win this series. It's baseball. Anything can happen. This, to me, will go down to the final game. That's where home field advantage is going to come in crucially for Houston. So that makes the ALCS a matchup between Tampa Bay and Houston. And this will be a good matchup. So these two teams, they were a bit of a laughingstock a half decade ago. You go back to 2014, I guess you could say a decade ago at this point. And Tampa Bay was nearing the bottom of the rankings. Houston was in the basement of not just baseball, but just everything. They were always at the bottom. It was pathetic. Now you see what good rebuilds can do for you. So it's going to be a tough matchup, a gritty matchup. And now Tampa Bay does play host. So Tampa Bay does have the lead. So they will have, if you go to a crucial Game 7, it's going to be in Tampa Bay, not in Houston. That does matter. So the pitching for Tampa Bay is younger, okay? That's my big concern with the Rays in this matchup. You have a younger pitching staff going up against an experienced offense and one of the hotter offenses in baseball as well. However, on the flip side, one of the pitchers that you're going to have for Houston, Framber Valdez, is also younger, and your ace, Zach Greinke, hasn't been looking that great lately. And I'm still not a huge fan of Lance McCullers either. So really, this is again shaping up to be another strong offensive series. And I could be wrong, but you also got to look at the defense as well. And in the last video, I had people pointing out to me, you're wrong. Tampa Bay is going to be able to knock off Houston. They got the better defense. I looked into it. You guys are right on that. I didn't even consider defense when I was looking into this matchup. So since there's going to be a lot more balls in play, that's going to heavily favor Tampa Bay. Now, again, Carlos Correa, he will be playing to prove that he deserves a big contract. I mean, at this point in time, of all the free agents, shortstops coming up, he's the only one left in the playoffs. So he has a lot to prove, as far as I'm concerned in this mock thing here. But he has a lot to prove. Kyle Tucker will maybe still be one of the hottest players in baseball. But I just, I counted out the Rays too many times before. The Rays have Wander Franco. This is a team that made the World Series last year, okay? So this team made the World Series without two key players that they have this year. Granted, again, they did have Tyler Glasnow last year, but now they have Nelson Cruz and Wander Franco. So Wander Franco brings a great glove at short. They can play him at third. They can play him at second if they need to. So to me, Tampa Bay is going to be able to sneak out with this series. It's going to be a close one, but I think you're probably talking Tampa in 6, if I had to say. It's going to be close, but I do have Tampa sneaking by, winning the AL for the second consecutive year, going to their third World Series appearance, hoping to finally take home the championship. Now, who would I have in the NL? So the NL has the 1-seed San Francisco Giants, who won a franchise record 107 games. The 2-seed Milwaukee Brewers will be playing host to the 3-seed Atlanta team. So, this is a battle of an old team for Milwaukee with the team that moved to Milwaukee or became founded in Milwaukee. So that's always good. And then you have the 4-seed LA Dodgers, who won 106 games, hosting the hottest team in baseball, the 5-seed St. Louis Cardinals. This isn't going to be an easy wild card game. So this is just going to be an amazing wild card game to watch. Realistically, again, assuming the pitching matchups are going to be, I'd say Adam Wainwright for St. Louis and probably Max Scherzer for LA. I'm just going to assume it's Scherzer for LA. I'm all but sure it's going to be Wainwright for St. Louis. So this game will be played in LA. So that's a big advantage for the Dodgers, of course. But the Dodgers offense is also better on paper than the Cardinals offense. Their pitching staff is better on paper than the Cardinals. But anything can happen in a one-game series. So we'll start by looking at the Dodgers. The Dodgers have, like I said, one of the better offenses in baseball. They have the Turners in Trey Turner and Justin Turner. They have, of course, Mookie Betts. They have the recently returned A.J. Pollock. Cody Bellinger's done this before. So they're ready to go. This offense is going to be able to produce runs on a whim. They're going to be able to score 5-10 runs in a game easy. They've done it before. They'll do it again. They just trounced the team they played yesterday. So they are ready to play. They will be ready to play regardless of who they're playing. But with Scherzer on the mound, anything's possible. He is one of the best pitchers in the game. He is a future Hall of Famer. So it's going to be tough to get by these guys. Can St. Louis do it? St. Louis's offense has another one of the hottest baseball players right now in Harrison Bader. Very streaky Harrison Bader. Had a hot stretch, then he got ice cold. Now he's red hot again at the right time. Nolan Arenado's been hot right now. Crucial. Paul Goldschmidt's been hot right now. To an extent. Much needed. So this team, they're ready to go. They are ready to play, and they need to be able to play to beat the Dodgers. Now, Wainwright is one of the most consistent players in baseball, and he seemingly came out of nowhere in 2021. He's not going to have any inning limits, so you don't have to worry about him getting pulled after 6 innings, regardless of what happens. They're going to let him go for as long as he wants to go. So, in this battle, remember how before I said the Houston-Tampa Bay battle was the second closest? This one's the closest. It's so difficult to predict. And every part of me screams Dodgers, but part of me says St. Louis is the hottest team in baseball. You have to take that into consideration. Adam Wainwright is one of the best players in baseball right now this year. You have to take that into consideration. So it's so tough to figure out who's going to win this game. But part of me has to say, both these teams have been here before, but I'm going to have to go with the LA Dodgers. And like I said before, I don't like to do it, but I think they're too good to fail here. They're not, I don't know if they're World Series favorites because now they match up with the 1 seed San Francisco Giants. But St. Louis, if St. Louis beats LA, I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at all. Now, Los Angeles versus San Francisco, the old rivals from New York. We already discussed the Dodgers, but let me quickly mention their other pitchers, of course. So you're going to have Clayton Kershaw going out there, and you're going to have Walker Buehler going out there. Now, they could use Julio Urias if they need to as well, but they probably would prefer to keep him in a bullpen role for this offseason, or for the postseason. San Francisco, their pitching doesn't match up as well. They do have DeSclafani, but other than him, I don't necessarily trust a lot of these pitchers. Logan Webb's been doing good, but he did cool off towards the end of the regular season, so maybe he's not going to get the role that he was hoping for going into the playoffs. Offensively, it boggles my mind that this team is this good. Like, don't get me wrong. San Francisco's offense is great on paper. They do have Brandon Belt, who's unfortunately going to be out for a while in the playoffs. They do have Darren Ruff. They do have, Buster Posey. But they do have Brandon Crawford. I can't forget to mention him. But it's just Evan Longoria's back. But these guys aren't superstars. They don't have the superstars that the Dodgers have. So, but every time I second guess myself, every time I doubt the Giants, they come back and prove me dead wrong. Dead wrong. So I did a lot more research in this series. And while the regular season series went one way, slightly favored the Giants, last time I had the Dodgers winning. Do I still have that? Barely. Barely. Not. I think San Francisco will be able to pull it out. San Francisco is basically, I don't want to say they're like the old school veteran team that's looking to produce, but this might be their last true run. We'll have to see what happens. Everyone thought this dynasty died in 2014. Here we are in 2021, and they're still kicking. So it's insane to me, is what it is. It's insane that they're still doing this. This dynasty is going to keep going. They don't have the pitching that they had, but I think they're just, it's too tough. It's too tough to beat this team. I won't be shocked if LA can get by San Francisco, but I just don't expect it. Then we have Atlanta versus Milwaukee. Atlanta, of course, is without Ronald Acuna Jr. That's tough. Offensively, though, they do have some guys that have been heating up. Eddie Rosario, Jock Peterson, these guys are ready to go. Dansby Swanson, Ozzy Albies, Freddie Freeman. These guys are players that are hot. Austin Riley is one of the hotter players in baseball right now. So they're ready to go. Pitching-wise is their concern. So Max Fried is their best pitcher by far. But other than Fried, what do you have? Charlie Morton? Morton's not bad, but do I trust him in a must-win Game 5? I don't know. I don't know if I do. Do I trust Fried in a must-win Game 4? I don't know if I do. So there are concerns with Atlanta. Milwaukee is kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum. So they have a much better pitching core. It's not even close who has the better pitching core. Corbin Burns is one of the bigger surprises this year. Brandon Woodruff looked like he was in line for the NL Cy Young Award before a somewhat rocky September. So you have those two. You have Freddie Peralta. And then you have, sorry about my camera being wonky there. After those three, you do have a strong bullpen. Now, of course, Devin Williams will not be playing this series. He won't be back until maybe the World Series if they make it that far. Offensively, I'm less excited about the offense. They do have Willie Adames. They do have Christian Yelich. But I'm just not, Milwaukee's offense doesn't terrify me. However, they're playing Atlanta's pitching. So it's going to be a tough matchup for both squads. Basically, their strength is their opponent's strength. Their weakness is their opponent's weakness. So this is going to be a matchup that's going to probably go to Game 5. And unlike last time, I am leaning Milwaukee. It does suck that, Brandon Woodruff is kind of trending in the wrong direction. But I think that even if he has a bit of a rocky start, your bullpen is way more than sufficient enough to go out there and finish the job for him. Now, this would make the NLCS a matchup between the Giants and the Brewers. And eventually, I'm going to look back at what my predictions were before the season started. But I can tell you, I did not have Milwaukee versus San Francisco. So, this is going to be another interesting matchup. San Francisco is a strong team that I always don't count on. I always just dismiss them. Milwaukee, same thing. I've dismissed them. So, I didn't, this is a matchup that I didn't see coming at all. And if you would have told me this would happen, I would have said, okay, who the Giants trade for, 1, and 2, hey, now that we're talking about it, how good is Christian Yelich? Is he the NL MVP? But no. And, I didn't mention Chris Bryant for the Giants. I probably should have, but I didn't mention him. So, he's been there before. Of course, Milwaukee's been there before. Not really, actually. I'm sorry. They've made runs before, but they haven't been to the World Series. I don't know if they've made it in the NL. I don't think they've made it as an NL team. I could be dead wrong on that, but this would be a crucial matchup. And this is where I think the veteran expertise of San Francisco will be too much for Milwaukee's elite pitching. So, don't get me wrong. I would love to see Milwaukee knock out San Francisco here, but I just think San Francisco's offense is going to be a bit much. I think they're going to be able to take advantage of Woodruff. I think Corbin Burns and Freddie Peralta, both of whom are younger, particularly Burns, too. He's had injuries in the past. I think these two guys are going to be somewhat limited due to their inning restrictions. So it's going to be very tough for both these guys. Very tough for even Woodruff, who, like I said, is trending in the wrong direction. I think San Francisco just has enough firepower to get through. So next, we have the World Series between the Tampa Bay Rays and the San Francisco Giants. Never thought I'd be saying that, but here we are. So this is a pair of teams that they're both strong, they're both ready to go, they're both, in win-now mood. And this is going to be a very good World Series. Now, we've been discussing the Giants recently. They have a good veteran-driven offense. Their pitching staff doesn't impress me all that much. You have Desclafani, you have Logan Webb, but other than that, there are some question marks. Reliever roles, same thing. You don't have the best bullpen. Tampa Bay has a strong bullpen. Tampa Bay has one of the best bullpens in the game, if not the best. I'd say it's between them and Milwaukee if both teams are healthy. But I would still give the edge to Tampa. Starting pitcher-wise, Tampa Bay is in some trouble. No Tyler Glasnow, and you got some young players. But you can take said young players, pull them after 4 or 5 innings, put out your strong bullpen. So the pitching doesn't really have a big advantage for either team. Tampa Bay's offense has the platoon bats. They're ready to go. They are 100% ready to go. So they need Ji-Man Choi out there today. They'll put him out there. They don't want him out there tomorrow. They'll bench him. They'll put out the other bat. So you got Nelson Cruz. He's a veteran who he wants that World Series more than anyone right now. He's, 43 years young, 44 years young at this point? He wants to win it all. He wants to get it, obviously. This team, they feel like they had a tough break last year in the World Series, and they did. But now you got Randy Arozarena, who's heating up again in the time for the playoffs. But now you got Wander Franco. So this is going to be a very good World Series matchup in my viewpoint. And I think this is going to go down to Game 6. Game 6 will be, to me, the World Series winning game. Who do I have winning the World Series? The Tampa Bay Rays. So this wasn't an easy choice for me. I've constantly counted out the Rays in the past. I've constantly counted out the Giants in the past. But to me, Tampa Bay is ready. Tampa Bay is here. They want to win in 2021. They have the ability to play and win in 2022, 2023. I think San Francisco is a better story to an extent. But I think Tampa Bay, you're going to have a tougher, an easier road, I guess you could say, to make it here. But I think Tampa Bay has the ability to pull it off. I think a lot of people will be rooting for the Rays over the Giants. And I think that Tampa Bay, their offense, they have the key players. They have the platoon bats. They were there last year. They have some hotter players right now. I think Tampa Bay's offense is going to be able to get past San Francisco. But, again, please, make sure to leave your opinions known. Make your opinion known. Let me know in the comments below. I changed it up, and I know it's only been 2 weeks, but I did change up my playoffs a little bit. The playoff picture stayed pretty similar, though. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I read all your comments, so please make sure to leave a comment. And I do apologize for kind of quieting myself a little bit. I am coming down with something. So, yeah, I did have to mute my mic once or twice. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. And hopefully, with all the teams that are in the playoffs, to me, there's only 2 teams I could really root for if they make it to the World Series. Tampa Bay is one of them. Have a good rest of your day.